on my mind a lot. Don't need no time watch. I don't know how I got you in my pocket spot. Yeah, that's babe, need you every day. You like my oxygen. Make it seem like the barging down. Got my heart no barging in. From the bed to the floor to the couch. Might wake the neighbors up. Break you in, then break you out. In the end, we're gonna make.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of All Time High. It's Jim and Deanna, and today we are joined by Ray Fuentes.
Yeah, woo woo! Welcome,
What's
Ray.
going on? Hello, how are you? Thanks for having me, Jim and Deanna. Good to see you both.
We're excited to be here. We had been talking, Ray, and your name came to the top of this list. We were asking around because everybody seems to know who the villains are, and our point. And you're not a villain, just to be clear. Although
Okay,
you are
thanks.
kind of set up in a sinister setting right now. You kind of got the Batman vibe going. We need some heroes out there. We need some good guys, good gals in the space. And so we've dedicated today to a podcast with guys like you, gals like you, that are helping to grow the crypto industry. So what's your take? Why did your name come up first on that list, man? Are you one of the good guys?
I hope so. I mean, you didn't lead it like that. You know what? It's been a really interesting and fulfilling journey navigating through this digital landscape and how we're transforming into we're adopting these new payment rails and things of that nature, and just how we do commerce, how we interact with each other. I mean, even from the sake of using these new tools like Riverside to produce some quality content to help educate the world. I mean, these are things that before even, if I can say the word COVID, before the pandemic.
Oh, you just ruined the episode. It's one of the C words now. My mom. Well, Deanna's now freed up. She can say all the other words that she never said.
Yeah, it's game
Deanna,
on.
you're off the hook.
That was planned, Deanna. I want this to be a free space.
I appreciate you.
Exactly.
Now you can talk about all the wars. See, I said another word.
It's not my fault.
We could never mind.
You're good to go, right? Yeah.
We could talk about my unibrow while we're at it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put my virtual headset on.
Yeah, hopefully I've got no
guys go
unibrow in the
for it.
metaverse.
The episode's already off the rails. We're done here.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for the laugh, because you know, this industry can be, you know, as colorful and rewarding as it is, it's also very dynamic and demanding. And so, you know, I think people have noticed, you know, since I came through the blockchain funnel myself, particularly around or through the XRP community. I of course, before I even got to that, before I landed in the XRP or becoming having such a strong affinity for that community and blockchain, I was using all types of, or investing in all types of assets. And so this is not financial advice. I just came into the space with a little bit of money and the willingness to experiment across many protocols and outside of the digital distributed ledger landscape, and investing in traditional investment vehicles as well. So this way I can come to my own understanding or ethos of what pathway do I want to take? You know, where do I want to invest my money while the whole world is being flipped up on its side? And so, you know, I think why hopefully people have recognized my benevolent efforts is because I've just busted my butt and really put the community first and other people's interests before mine. Maybe that's just because my upbringing or things of that nature. Before coming into the blockchain space or working in the industry for multiple years, I sold business insurance, workers' comp and liability. And, you know, I was a guy that never charged broker fees or anything like that, because ultimately I was about building the book and building the relationships and keeping that business. And so the same principles apply, where, you know, blockchain and these industries are still people based. And so we can't default from who we are as an individual. If anything, we should be bringing our best skill sets to this new economy and help it thrive. And so that's really been my North Star, is just apply the principles that I've acquired along my, you know, college career, my professional career. Shoot, man, even back in the day when I did Taekwondo and got my black belt. I mean, all of those, all those things, those experiences have applied to just my overall mindset of, that's why I don't know if you notice in my emails, I always say sir or end with
That
sir.
discipline. I like it.
Yeah, most definitely.
Very respectful. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And so that's just kind of been the just who I am. And
so let's go with that and say that
okay.
You're talking about foundationally being a utility guy within the crypto space. But I'm going to say, not for me, but for the market right now, meme coins are popping off. Like, this bull run has kind of escaped utility, and it's been all about the memes, not financial advice. Do your own research. Your risk tolerances are your own, but how are you reconciling what's going on in the market versus where your principles might lie fundamentally?
Really, really great question, Jim, because ultimately, I've noticed obviously this meme movement and craze. That's not something. Well, of course, I'm an investor in many NFTs, from X punks to you name it. And so, but where I'm getting at is, with this recent NFT craze, I didn't really participate much or at all, because ultimately I've been focused on real world assets and developing, not just my YouTube channel, but also in developing a proud investment portfolio built around, SPVs, special purpose vehicles, which have given me access to really world-class companies that are bringing some great value, not just to the blockchain landscape, but to the verticals which they're integrating themselves into. And what I mean by that is, full disclosure, I worked at an investment platform that's leveraging some of these technologies, and that's called Link2. Full disclosure, I'm no longer an employee. I am a shareholder, so I'm rooting them on through to the finish line. They're actually going in through a reverse SPAC merger right now, so I'm cheering them on in the public markets. But regardless, what they've done to the industry, for the securities industry, is absolutely transformational, enabling everyday investors like myself to get access and invest into these world-class companies for not millions of dollars, but fractions. They've essentially, Link2 has fractionalized these big tranches of private equity investments and have allowed accredited investors to participate in those early investments and get exposure right alongside some of the largest financial institutions in the world, like BlackRock or Goldman Sachs and things of that nature. So I see these technologies providing access to individuals that might not had those capabilities to certain resources around the world. There's this movement of bringing people bringing the unbanked to these new banking systems, or bringing these technologies to geographies around the world where they were lacking these types of technologies. And for instance, maybe specific continents like Africa, where there's a lot of growth going on right now. And so I believe that we're in this paradigm shift where we're providing an opportunity to these regions around the world that might be deprived of particular resources, and then bringing them on board and providing that opportunity of a level set playing field, which I'm 100% about. And so it's kind of funny, because there's this misconception that a lot of people believe that the US is a laggard in the development of these technologies. And I 100% disagree, because you have to think back to where, even when the internet was developed, the US was a primary contributor of the development of the internet itself, maybe with a couple of other countries like France and another. But regardless, though, we've been considered, actually, if I participated in, or I attended the XRP Las Vegas conference, and who was up on stage, Jim, was Perry-Ann Boring, the CEO and founder of the Digital Chamber.
I've done work for Perry-Ann, with Perry-Ann.
Yeah. We both worked with her.
The last time I saw Perry-Ann before that conference was actually with you, Jim, at the the private dinner that we had in the bank vault, I believe was it Dallas or Austin?
Austin. It was in Austin, Texas.
Yeah. So that was my first time I got to meet her.
And that means you made it. If you got that invite, like you're on another
list, man. That's a tight list. You, Barry Ann, yeah.
I'm just thrilled they let me out of that vault. But regardless, what she said on stage was very powerful, because she mentioned how, the U.S. is the primary steward of the internet, and so it's, how can one of the drivers and creators of the internet itself be the laggard of the approval or bringing into the fold of these new distributed payment rails built on top of the internet? I just don't see that as. I think people are missing the plot there, but ultimately,
all right, Ray, do you play Uno? Do you play Uno?
Because I play. I just play building companies.
All right. Well, I'm gonna play the reverse card, because everything you're saying is taking me straight to Gary Gensler. But no more villains. I'm gonna reverse course and ask you about John Deaton and him running for office against Senator Warren. And I bet there'll be a follow-up question here from Deanna. I don't know what I don't know, but I know what I know. So, Ray, what's your take on what he's doing, what he's done for the industry? He's another one of the good guys that came up on that short list. And what chance do you think he stands in the upcoming election? Since we already broke all the rules, let's talk politics, guys. Yeah. Let's do it.
You know what? I believe to be considered in the same tier as John Deaton is an absolute honor, because ultimately he is the white knight of the XRP community, the liberator of the digital asset economy, basically being a representative of we the people and providing a voice to those who have been underserved, especially in this ongoing litigation between the SEC and Ripple for nearly almost 5 years now. And he has is close to that. And so,
it is. Yeah.
He is, can you believe it's already been 5 years? Anyways, he is brought in a voice to us and represented now, I believe there's 75,000 XRP holders that are participating in this overall lawsuit, or have provided the documentation to stand with John. And I believe that's just a testament. Well, I mean, just the fact that now John is running as a candidate for the U.S. Senate, I believe going against Elizabeth Warren for the state of Massachusetts. I think, you know what? Like I told John at the XRP Las Vegas conference, actually at the benefits dinner that was hosted by the Digital Chamber, Perry Ann Boring and Cody Carbine, I told John I believe he's going to win, and the fact that, and the reason why, he said, "Why do you believe that, Ray?" And I said, when I heard Elizabeth Warren call out your name, like she provided recognition to you as is not just competition, but I identified how fearful she is, because she didn't have to do that. If anything, that brings awareness from her party to you, and I believe that she's scared. I believe John Deaton has not just the power of the people behind it, but he's got truth and fact, and now he potentially has policy on his side with the rollout of, I mean, you have Donald Trump leaning in and giving his endorsement to crypto, which is putting a lot of pressure on the Dems, and now we just see that the SEC has lifted its case against Consensus in regards to the developments of Ethereum, whether it was a security or not. And so I just think that these are things that are occurring and are only going to provide wind in the sails for John Deaton, because as people recognize that blockchain, digital assets, call it crypto, is a real thing, and it's not going anywhere but only forward. I mean, I'm sure like myself, you're paying taxes on some of these transactions, and so that's, to have these types of infrastructure already in place, that takes years to evolve, and then those types of developments are only signaling the direction of this technology, and it's not going backwards, it's going up and to the right.
Yeah. Just to follow up, because Jim said I was gonna, and he was right. So In talking to you, like your personality, you are literally like the essence of everything I love about the crypto community because I came in, everybody was very welcoming, everybody was nice. We all had the same principles. We all wanted to build things and change the world and felt empowered. So I have a two-part question for you. One, what was it that drew you to XRP as like your crypto of choice? And two, at what point did you find you went from like a consumer to an actual participant in the ecosystem? Like, was there one thing or was it something that happened over time?
Oh,
And Ray, I got to warn you before you answer. I think Deanna's like a recovering Bitcoin maxi.
I'll tread.
She may have been at one time. I don't know how many days or if you get I'm not making light of it. I'm just trying to keep it light.
I'm always
anybody
open.
has hateful
I'm
comments,
always open to learn new things. You can change
leave it
my
down
mind.
below.
Change my mind.
Leave
Ray.
the hate.
I'll tread lightly.
No pressure.
Deanna.
Wait. So I'm sure that transaction you sent with Bitcoin is before this conversation, this production will settle maybe tonight,
tomorrow.
Or
Yeah,
tomorrow.
I'm not gonna lie.
Wow.
That struggle's a real. That
Oh,
struggle's
the
real.
haterade's coming, y'all.
Haterade, pour it on. No,
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
I told you we hadn't arrived till the haters arrived. Oh, they're showing up now.
No. Hey, Bitcoin has its place in the market, and I think it will always provide some utility for some sector or segment of the investor community. You know, it's been a staple in the evolution of blockchain, and I don't. Like even John Deaton has mentioned, he's an investor in Bitcoin, not financial advice. That was something that he shared at a closed knit conference hosted by my former employer, Link2. So, like he mentioned, we're moving into a world of a multi-chain universe. So I think that each protocol will provide utility for a specific use case for a specific sector in a specific jurisdiction or region. And so it's all going to be, I'm sure, piped into each other, but then those regulations are going to need to define how those handshakes or transactions or that value is transferred across borders or across from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. So that's why we see the micro regulations being rolled out of the EU. We're seeing stablecoin regs here in the US, and now there's being a foundation formed, which is identifying that or elevating Ripple's, the stablecoin issuers Ripple and Circle, as Ripple announced its RLUSD or Real USD, and Circle's stablecoin USDC. I believe that since those are going to be within the framework or foundation within the U.S. just peer review or jurisdiction, those are the ones that are going to reign supreme. And then you're going to see those like stablecoins like Tether provide utility outside of the US. And so,
what was it about XRP though? What specifically about XRP?
Well, you know what? After doing all of the, like I mentioned early on in the beginning of, I alluded to, was where I tested all these different chains and systems. You know, I had originally started dating now my wife, but at the time when I was dating my wife before being married, I would drive from my house in Laguna Niguel, and she lived about 30 minutes away in Newport. And by that time, I was just starting to get my toes wet in investing in crypto. And so, man, I would be sweating bullets the entire drive up from my house up to my girlfriend at the time, being like, where did my money go? What did I do something wrong? I think that's probably what caused my hives at the time, because it was just so slow with the transaction to create a lot of fear. So I'm like, hey, there's no way that this is going to be scalable for mass adoption. Yeah. And so what is the next system that could be doing that? And so I came about, XRP. I didn't yet know about Ripple. I just saw XRP as one of the top three at the time of top three market cap coins, digital assets. And so, like fast forward today, let me just show you a little. I've got even an XRP community platinum poster.
Baby, that's hardcore.
There's also a digital NFT created by this participant called Steadus. But anyways, on that poster shows there's people who were familiar with this poster, submitted their Twitter handles, and it's a nice collectible of all or at least some of the most passionate XRP community participants are are on that poster. And so that was just something to memorialize my beginnings of really engaging in this space. But what happened was, what really solidified my passion, or at least the driver behind my engagements into this economy, was when there was in 2020, when the pandemic was going on, there was the COVID Care Act that was in effect. So I was able to liquidate up to X amount of dollars.
Just in case YouTube didn't catch it the first time, we've doubled down.
We're good.
Okay,
I
good.
was gonna say,
Okay.
but
Boom.
might as well just say China next.
Oh man, I'm so sorry, Jim. I hope it's good. Yeah, okay.
Keep going.
Okay. So, but there was this the COVID Care Act. You had the ability to liquidate up to $100,000 of your 401k if you were affected by the COVID in some way. You're actually sick. Your office was forced to work remote, or you saw a diminish in overall gross revenues because, and I'm like, that's everybody.
Yeah.
And so regardless though, I reconfirmed this act with the 401k provider at the time. They said this was confirmed. And so I said, you know what, if I had done all these, if I had, this was post experimenting with many different investments, traditional and non-traditional, and said, you know what, I'm going to put my money into these new and emerging asset classes, such as called digital assets, blockchain, and at that time I rolled it all into XRP because I was that passionate. And so then I kept thinking, probably a few weeks rolled by, and said, if I'm this passionate and I have this much invested into blockchain, I need to be working in the industry too, to fight for my investments and make sure that they succeed as well. So then at that time, I qualified to being an accredited investor through my own personal endeavors. And at that time, I was able to satisfy the accredited investor requirements to then begin investing on my former employer's platform, Linked. That's actually how I built the deep relationships with the C-suite team, because I invested in or developed such a proud portfolio that I had access to the C-suite team, where they got to see just how I operate as an individual or a professional. And from there, I quoted their insurance because I was in insurance still, and developed even deeper relationships. And then when I saw that they listed a job opportunity on LinkedIn, I immediately applied, which was for the community manager position. And that's where it's just my whole world changed even more. It was just, I was put on, or engaging in these systems, you're already now on a globalized platform. And so because these payment rails are global. And so with that being said, when you're interacting with global participants, you're on a global scale now. And so I've just been able to really engage and develop lifelong lasting relationships. And I'm really thankful and proud for the XRP community, for Link2 and others that are in the space as well. Ripple Labs is obviously the developer of even the payment repository ISO 20022, which many of these financial institutions now have to abide by if they want to move value across the world or information. And so, I mean, what Ripple is doing for cross-border payments, Link2 is doing for the securities industry, Uphold is doing for finance. And so you're just seeing how many of these market participants who may or may not be leveraging the XRPL are providing specific utility to various verticals or industries around the world, and absolutely transforming them. And so that's why I'm passionate about the space. And but it's not an easy trek. Like I'm working till 2 a.m. at times to keep up with the dynamics of the industry, or to also improve upon for my own channel. I'm not creative enough at like you, Jim, with ATH. Actually, food for thought. Maybe after this call, I'll let you know. Or show you. I did invest on Unstoppable. Or I purchased a domain on Unstoppable Domain called ATH.crypto. It was one of their premium domains that I had to pay a pretty penny for. But I see where these domains, the utility, the utility that these domains provide, and we're so early that we're not there yet for mass adoption. And so I'm just holding on to these for the right moment. Maybe it makes sense for you with your ATH
Maybe you'll
brand.
sell it to us for a small transactional
for some XRP. But anyways, real quick, just to button it up for the last question for Diana. I've had the privilege of traveling around the world, as mentioned, and there was one moment that I brushed elbows with a gentleman from the space, and he said, "Ray, what draws you to the XRP community?" I said, "The camaraderie." I played college baseball as well, and that's something that I missed. And so this is a moment where we can band together, fight for something, and really bring our best qualities to the field and leave them on the field. And that's what I've been doing, or in many of the people from the industries, we're leaving our mark. And being this early, many of us are, including yourself, all of us on the call, we're vanguards of this new space. And so we just got to keep hustling and keep advocating and educating those that are interested, or soon they're going to have no choice, or they could get left on UBI or something of the sort. And so I'm just trying to develop secure the wealth for my family and in the generations to come.
Totally get it. I totally get it.
So I'm thinking about something. I know you've talked to a lot of people in the crypto space, and lawyers right now are front and center. I'm going to take John Deaton off the table here, but the multiple choice question for you is, who do you think the history books will be kindest to? Okay, you got Jeremy Hogan, Stuart Alderati, or Jimmy Vallee?
Oh, man. Well, I hope the history books are kinder to Jimmy Vallee, because man, the community at this time, I watched the comments and they're just so hard on the man, and it's very I don't understand it, because ultimately he's advocating and fighting right alongside it of everybody.
Oh, he's brilliant. He's 2 steps ahead. He's visionary. Yeah. He may be the Michael Saylor of XRP at the end of the day.
I think so. I've had the privilege of having him on my channel for a live stream. I mean, even about a couple of weeks ago when I was out in Cape Canaveral and got to listen to him speak. He's a wonderful man. I've got to brush elbows with him and you at the in
Speaking
Houston.
Of attorneys, we have Daniel Payne jumping in. I like it.
Uh-oh.
Daniel, do you know Ray Fuentes and Diana?
I don't. It's so nice to meet you guys.
Hang tight.
What's up, Dan? How are you,
sir?
An
episode. You're welcome to stay here right with us. And Ray was kind of finishing up, and I wanted to be able to share where your pod is located, Ray. So
no pain, no gain. Come on.
There you go.
Stick around, Dan. What was the question, Jim?
I'm gonna. You know what? We're gonna go right here. Ray, you were mentioning about Jimmy, and so I wanted to say that I'd watched that particular episode. You have a channel, a flourishing channel that is. Got lots of great content that you can see right here. We'll put this in the show notes, but
cool.
You can see all the different videos that you're publishing, a lot of stuff, great content that you're creating. We're really honored that you came on the show with us today. My apologies to Fred Rispoli. He was not in that multiple choice. He's another trendsetter that's out there. So I was asking you who was going to be the best example of the attorney remembered most.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, they're all going to be recognized, and I was going to say they'll each have their faces on Mount Rushmore or something of the equivalent. But I hope that Jimmy Vallee is recognized at the top, because he's a great man, a great family man. He's in the trenches doing the work that is not getting very much credit for, and assisting with people like me to even help develop my career path and take me to the next level. He's a very seasoned securities lawyer with a very colorful and decorated background. And so I believe, I mean, if we're talking about, bringing value and tokenizing assets on chain, or defining what these assets are within the scope of the securities landscape, there's no one better than Jimmy Vallee. I mean, he's the guy that I would trust to help define what these assets are and their use case. But ultimately, on that interview, you spoke with Molly Elmore too, who they're working together, and she's another great advocate in this space. Yeah, brilliant. Molly is a walking blockchain dictionary, or also just a very aware and an individual, I'd like to consider a mentor from like a way of just how to interact, and for a personal communication and interaction standpoint. She's a very wonderful woman. I've had many opportunities to brush elbows with her at various XRP conferences, and then plus, recently at the Cape Canaveral. But she also has her own channel, which I highly recommend those in the audience to take a peek at. And she's talking about things beyond blockchain, which I like, self-development and things like of that nature. So I appreciate her, and I appreciate the wealth of knowledge that she is bringing into the fold for the space, because and the compassion, because there's an element of anonymity obviously in the blockchain space, and so people can leverage that and be sometimes nasty at times. And so it's always great to see Molly on the other side of the coin provide the compassion and transparency and putting a face to the name and things of that nature. And so I appreciate her. 100%.
Ray, we appreciate you. Thank you for joining us on another edition of All Time High. We'll sign off until the next episode. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
You on my mind a lot. Don't need no time watch. I don't know how I got